Now we are going to discuss about sampling method and the importance of sampling method and the types of sampling method. Okay. Now what is a sample? A portion taken from the population is called a sample. What is element? A single person of the population is called element. Sampling. Definition of sampling. Sampling is selecting a portion representatively from the total universe or the population. Sampling involves in saving time, energy, money. A good sample must have adequate representativeness of the universe. A small sample will be more reliable if it is properly selected. For a large size sample, if the correct procedure is not followed, the data will be worthless and the sampling will be misleading. Reasons for sampling. In census study, all members of the population have to be studied, but there are many difficulties in the census study. For example, you can take India. Last census 2001, our government spent nearly 1,000 crores and nearly 20 lakhs enumerators engaged with that work. Our government also gave orientation for that resource persons. Okay. Then requirement of good sampling. The object of the sample study is to know about the population from the knowledge of the sample studied. That is, to infer the characteristics of the population from the sample. For that we need some conditions. One is representativeness. Sample selected should be representative of the population. It should reflect the characteristics of the population. By random selection, we mean a selection where each and every item in a population has an equal chance of being selected in the sample. Second one, we can discuss about adequacy. Adequacy is another important factor. Adequacy of size is another important consideration in the selection of a sample. The size of the selected sample should be adequate, otherwise the population cannot be understood properly through the sample. Then, in a number of studies, 10% of the population has been taken as the size of the sample, and this suggests that 10% may be the desirable size. Then we can discuss about types of sampling. There are a number of procedures of selecting a sample. They are all classified as two broad types, namely one is probability sampling and another one is non-probability sampling. Okay. In probability sampling, there are four types. One is simple random sampling. In simple random sampling, there are three types. One is lottery method, another one is table of random numbers, another one is computer method. Second one is systematic random sampling. Then third one is stratified random sampling. And fourth one is cluster sampling, otherwise we can call as multi-stage sampling. Okay. Then another non-probability sampling. In non-probability sampling, there are four types. One is accidental sampling, second one is quota sampling, third one is purposive sampling, fourth one is snowball sampling. Okay. Now we can discuss one by one. Now we can take probability sampling. In probability sampling, each unit of the population has the probability of being included in the sample. There are several methods of obtaining a small at random. They are, one is simple random sampling. In this method, each unit in the population gets an equal chance of being included in the sample. For example, in a population of 1,000, each unit theoretically has 1 by 1,000 of a chance of being included in the sample. For this purpose, we have to collect secondary data. Suppose we want to make a study in a village means, first we have to collect the total population of that village. Okay. Then only we can proceed these things. Okay. Then the mechanics drawing a simple random sample is as follows. First, all units in the population are listed and each unit in serially numbered. It is known as sample frame. Then the sample is selected on random basis from the sampling frame by one of the following method. One method is lottery method. Everybody knows this method. Under this method, the numbers of the various units of the population are written on sheets or capsules. Okay, they are put in a bowl, thoroughly mixed. Then the required number of sheets or capsules are blindly drawn from the bowl. Okay, this is one method. Another one is use of table of random numbers. A table of random numbers contain 2 or 4 or 5 digits numbers known as random numbers. Such a table of random numbers may be used for the selection of sample on random basis. Okay. Notable among such tables are LHC Tipper's random sampling numbers. Another one is RA Fisher and Yates table of random numbers. Okay. Then second one is systematic random sampling. In this method, the sampling units are selected of regular intervals from a list. Okay. A list of all units in the population is prepared and all units are serially numbered. Suppose if the population consists of 1000 units, each unit is serially numbered, that is from 1 to 1000. Okay. Then if you want to select a sample of 100 units, from out of 1000 units, we divide the population size, okay, that is capital N, 1000, by the sample size, that is small n, number of respondents we have to select. Okay. That is why we can use the formula capital N by small n. Capital N means total number of population, 1000. Then we want to collect 100 respondents, means the 1000 divided by 100. Okay, 10. So this 10 is the regular interval. Then suppose we can go for one house, then we can give interval 10, then we can go for 11th house. Likewise, we have to proceed this systematic random sampling. Third one is stratified random sampling. In this method, the population is first divided into a number of strata and a sample selected for the whole population by taking subsamples from the strata of the population. Suppose if we make a study about the college students, we can divide them into two strata, namely UG students and PG students. Suppose if you want to take sex, we can divide into male and female. Okay. Then you can take religion, Hindu, Muslim, Christians, Jains and Buddhists. Suppose you can take marital status. Marital status you can divide into married, unmarried, widow, widower, deserted, separated, single. Okay, in this way we can do the stratified random sampling. Suppose then we can study the cluster sampling. Okay, you can study the cluster sampling. In cluster sampling, the researcher first divides the population into certain large groupings, that is clusters, and select a sample of clusters. For example, you want to make a study in Chennai. In Chennai, total population is 1 crore. If I want to make a study, then I can get down in Tambaram. Is it possible? Can I take 500 samples from Tambaram? So it is not possible. That's why first we have to define the universe and then we have to select the sample. So the total population in Chennai is 1 crore. The 1 crore, there are 155 wards. Okay. Then 155 wards, I have to select 500 samples. So after 155 wards, 10 wards we can select. Okay. From 10 wards, each ward we can select 50 respondents. So 10 into 50 respondents, 500 respondents. So the cluster sampling, another we can call multi-stage sampling procedure. Okay. The sampling of cluster is done on random basis. Okay. Then these are we discussed all probability sampling. Then we can discuss about non-probability sampling. Okay. In non-probability sampling, when sample units are selected not at random, okay, but according to the discretion of the researcher, it is called non-probability sampling. Okay. So the following are the non-probability sampling methods. There are 4 methods. One is accidental sampling, another one is quota sampling, another one is purposive sampling, another one is snowball sampling. Then now we can discuss one by one. Okay. Accidental sampling. in accidental sampling, the researcher simply takes the cases that fall to his hand. Okay, that is, he takes the cases that are conveniently available to him. For example, a journalist wants to know how the people, okay, feel about an particular issue, may choose to interview the cases conveniently available to him from different walks of life. Okay, he may be met a automan, or he may be met a doctor, he may be met a nurse, he may be met a taxi driver. Okay, whatever he may met, he can ask the opinion of the people. He has no pre-plan. Okay, that type of sampling is called accidental sampling. Okay, then we can discuss about quota sampling. In quota sampling, the researcher divides the population into groups, okay, according to a selected characteristics. For example, you can take age. Age, how can we divide? Young, middle and old. Okay. Likewise, we can divide, suppose we can take class. Class we can divide high class, middle class, low class. Okay. Suppose you want to take caste, you can take SC, ST, BC, MPC. Okay. Likewise, we can give quota for every category. Okay. He fixes himself a quota for each group. Okay. Say 25 cases for the young group, 50 cases for the old group, and selects the individual from each group according to fixed quota. Okay. Next, we can discuss the purposive sampling. In this method, the sample is selected according to the researcher's personal judgment. Okay. When a researcher is studying in the impact of automation on labor, he selects the workers of a factory where automation has been introduced. Okay. So, the purpose is impact of automation in industry. That's why we have to go and search which industry is introduced automatic machine. We have to go and collect the data. That type of thing is purposive sampling. Another example also you can take, for example, radio listening after the introduction of TV in special reference to Madurai district. That study we have to collect who are all having both TV and radio, then only we can go and collect the data. Okay, that type of study is called purposive sampling. Another one is fourth, snowball sampling. This type of sampling is used to cover the entire population in a paced manner. Suppose a researcher takes up a study of Sri Lankan refugees. He selects certain refugees whom he knows and through them identify other refugees. Again through them he identifies some other refugees, then he goes until he covers the whole population of these Sri Lankan refugees. So this type of thing is called snowball sampling. So this is called the types of sampling. There are, we discussed already who are all probability sampling and who are all non-probability sampling. This is over. Then summary. Okay, the sampling involves the selection of cases from a defined population. When we take a portion from a population from our study, we need not spend much amount for it. Probability samples can be drawn with simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, systematic random sampling and cluster sampling procedures. Okay. Occasions may call for the use of non-probability sampling. Several recently developed sampling plans have unique features. Even though we just take a portion from the population for same study, the results of the sample study are reliable. Okay. Then the last one is, each sampling plan has its own merits and demerits. A researcher should weigh these factors and select the best plan to achieve minimal the representation of the population within its capacity and resources.